Today, the so-called resistance just got a brutal reality check. A radical New Yorker who threatened to murder ICE agents, even bragging about putting a bullet in an agent's head and killing his kids, thought that he would be a hero for the sanctuary state mob. But guess what? That ICE kill plot backfired badly. And the first ones who are feeling the heat aren't just the masked thugs who are posting these different death threats behind keyboards. It's actually the same big name Democrats who spent years calling ICE agents Nazis and secret police. Yep, guys, I'm talking about Letitia James. I'm talking about Kathy Hochul. And I'm also talking about the entire sanctuary network that thought that they were untouchable in New York City. Well, they're not untouchable anymore because President Trump, smart, strategic, and dead serious, just unleashed a relentless federal probe that ties this ICE death threat straight back to the reckless, lawless sanctuary spin that was coming from the top. And now there's no mercy. There's no mercy left for the people who stoked this fire. So today, you're going to see how this ICE kill plot just turned into the smoking gun that Trump's team needed to slam Kathy Hochul, Letitia James, and the entire defy ICE machine that's going on in New York City. All right. Oh, and wait until you hear about who's about to face real federal charges next and why the Supreme Court just gave President Trump the green light to go ahead and cut sanctuary funding and federalize local control if these politicians keep playing these silly little games. So stick with me. Just a second from now, I'm going to go ahead and break down the entire secret meeting where President Trump's cabinet drew the red line for mass deportations with no amnesty, plus the shocking new push by Democrats to unmask the ICE agents and expose their families to threats just like the shooters. Guys, trust me, it's all connected. And by the end of this video, you're going to see exactly why the one arrest that just took place could flip this entire sanctuary racket upside down. So hit subscribe, hit the like button. I really appreciate you guys' support. You guys are absolutely amazing. Thank you for sharing this video, because what you're about to hear today, this is the part that mainstream media wants to bury. The ICE kill plot just backfired. The probe is live. And for these New York politicians, there's no mercy left. So, all right, I'm going to break this down step by step because some folks haven't been privy to the details. Because this ICE plot, this ICE kill plot, this isn't just some, crazy lone threat. It's actually the spark that blew the lid off of a very dangerous sanctuary city game that Letitia James and Kathy Hochul thought that they could be playing forever. Well, first, the arrest that stunned everybody. There's a man named Matthew White, 43 years old, up in Buffalo, New York. This wasn't some harmless rant. The guy jumped online and openly called ICE the new age Gestapo, demanded people kill them all. And he didn't even stop there. He bragged about putting a bullet in an ICE agent's brain and even threatened the man's children. This is not okay at all. We do not support this whatsoever. But I want you to think about this, okay? These are federal officers who are sworn to protect our border and remove criminals. And this radical thought that he'd be a hero if he wiped them out and their kids, this is completely lunatic, right? So this is exactly what happens when reckless talk becomes real. It's no longer about politics. It's literally terrorism on U.S. soil pointed straight at the men and women who are keeping our country safe. And here is where it backfires, because the moment that those threats hit the open, the real investigation kicked in. And when we come back in just a second, I'm going to show you how the biggest backfire wasn't just this guy landing in a cell. It's what it actually exposed about Kathy Hochul, Letitia James, and every sanctuary politician who spent years trashing ICE as Nazis and secret police. So let's talk about that next, because the same people who swear that they'll never work with ICE, they're the ones who are now staring down a federal probe that President Trump's team made crystal clear. No more games, no more cover, no more mercy. Now, you know what makes me the angriest here? It's when someone who's supposed to help you ends up costing you more. This is exactly why I partnered with Chapter, because they fix what shady brokers break. Julie, she trusted her local broker for years, right up until she found out the truth. She said, my broker stuck me in a plan that cost me more to see my doctor. I switched through Chapter and now I save $400 every year. I should have done it sooner. And she's not the only one. In fact, Sharon Bertusik, she got blindsided when Medicaid dropped her. She said, I thought I was done for. Chapter got me on a plan with zero premiums, zero drug costs, and my copay dropped from $89 to $20. They gave me my hope back. Look, guys, you can reach Chapter down below. It's a totally free call, totally free service. You have nothing to lose and everything to gain. Give our friends at Chapter a call now. Phone number is 909-563-8279, or hit them up on the web at askchapter.org/Ron. All right. So I want to connect the dots. Okay. This was not just about one radical keyboard warrior. It's amazing how much courage these folks have when they're behind a keyboard. You know what I mean? They're really cowards. This ICE kill threat cracked open the door for something bigger, because something President Trump's team had already been preparing for months: a full-scale federal probe into the sanctuary racket that folks like Letitia James and Kathy Hochul love to hide behind. When President Trump's team saw the death threats, they saw an ICE agent's kids targeted. They didn't just shake their heads and kind of move on. They moved. They tied it directly to the constant drumbeat from these local leaders, the same people who stand on TV calling ICE Gestapo, secret police, or thugs. Letitia James, New York's Attorney General, went so far as to brag about the blocking deportations. Kathy Hochul, she vowed New York would never cooperate with ICE sweeps. They thought that they were safe. They thought that they were bulletproof because they essentially wore the word sanctuary like it was some kind of armor. But when this shooter's rant matched their rhetoric almost word for word, that's when Trump's DOJ snapped the trap shut. So right now, behind closed doors, the federal probe is live, examining exactly how far state officials went to obstruct ICE operations, who gave the orders, who blocked the warrants, who labeled these agents as the enemy. Who do you think was behind all this, guys? Because here's the truth. When leaders call the people enforcing the law Nazis, you get some real lunatics who decide to pick up a gun and finish the job. That is the backfire right there. And that is the link that the Trump administration is using to go straight after sanctuary state sabotage. Drop a 47 in the comments down below if you are in support of President Trump's movement. Now, here's what's even more powerful. This isn't just about rounding up one shooter and calling it a day. President Trump promised no amnesty, and he meant it, not just for illegal crossings, but for anyone who undermines the federal law of this country. This means mass deportations stay on track, but they're smarter, more targeted, and fully legal. That means no shady farm worker loopholes that sneak permanent amnesty through the back door. Instead, Trump's team is boosting legal visa programs that actually check who's coming in and shifting the workforce toward American jobs first, with a push for automation and more H-2A visa accountability. So no free passes, no fake compassion from politicians who would rather stand in front of cameras and stand up for real border security. Oh, and no more mercy for state officials who think that the law doesn't apply to them. So now you kind of see how all of this links up, right? You got a lone radical who thought that he was scaring ICE into backing down, but all he did was hand Trump's team exactly what they needed to prove sanctuary states are nothing more than a threat, not just to the law, but to the very people who are risking their lives in order to enforce it. The ICE kill threat isn't just evidence. This is a boomerang, because every post that shooter made, every kill them all, every Gestapo rant kind of lines up perfectly with the exact garbage that Kathy Hochul and Letitia James and all of their allies have been pushing in the headlines for years. And they thought it was just words, but now it's a federal case. And see, when you call ICE agents secret police, you vow that New York will never help them catch dangerous criminals. You don't just sound reckless. You sound like the guy who threatened to execute them and their kids. And guess what? The DOJ knows that. The Department of Homeland Security knows it. This one arrest gave Trump's team the legal green light to push the narrative that sanctuary policies are a direct threat to federal law enforcement. And that means one thing. They can clamp down harder. They can tie funding to cooperation. They can federalize the National Guard if they have to. And so now Kathy Hochul and Letitia James are trapped, because the same Supreme Court that's already sided with Trump's budget cuts twice just cleared the path to slash sanctuary funding if states break immigration law. Now think about that for a second, okay, guys? The same New York that shouts about being a safe haven depends on billions of dollars in federal money. Now, if you cut that off, all of a sudden, Kathy Hochul's so-called resistance gets a whole lot more expensive. Now, if you add to that, Letitia James, she's already fighting lawsuits for misusing allegedly federal grant money to prop up her sanctuary promises. And Kathy Hochul she's already tied to multiple court cases, multiple court battles over refusing to comply with deportation orders. So they're both in some pretty hot water. The kill threat really kind of proves that they knew what they were blocking, and that the Supreme Court says that the feds, they can take action if a state defies lawful immigration enforcement. So what happens now? Well, I'll tell you what. Hochul and Letitia, they can't hide behind soft press conferences anymore. They can't spin it as politics anymore. The shooter gave Trump's team the leverage, and the law backs them up. And this is the part that nobody in the legacy media wants to spell out. This resistance here isn't resistance anymore. This is obstruction of federal law with a violent edge. And now there's no mercy left for that. So now, if you think that the insanity stops with just one of these radical threats, think again, guys, because while ICE agents are out there facing some real violence, getting doxxed, threatened, hunted, what are Democrat lawmakers in New York pushing this summer? They're pushing a bill to force ICE officers to unmask themselves in public while they're doing arrests, raids, and deportations. I'm not kidding, guys. The so-called Invisible Act demands that no ICE agent can cover their face, no matter the risk to their families. Comment down below if you do not support this bill that these Democrats are pushing. I want to see what you guys are commenting down below. They want IDs visible, faces out, while the same people that they're chasing are literally plotting to shoot them in the head. Cory Booker's pushing this thing. Who else is pushing this thing? Alex Padilla, Richard Blumenthal, and they spin it like it's about transparency, like federal law enforcement are the real villains hiding in the shadows. But here's the real truth. Those masks, they're not about hiding. They're about survival. So you see, guys, when ICE agents raid a violent gang hideout or arrest a repeat felon in a sanctuary city that promises no ICE allowed, they do things, they do bad things. They do it by knowing guys like Matthew White are online making kill lists. So Trump's administration already knows this, okay? This is why they're not just fighting sanctuary defiance in court. They're fighting to protect the officers' families at home. It's smart, and it's very compassionate because it puts the real human aspect first, not the criminals who get shelter from people like Letitia James and Kathy Hochul. And so this is exactly why Trump's message right now is no mercy, not just for the shooter, but for anybody, any politician who tries to expose or sabotage federal agents doing their jobs. No mercy for sanctuary mayors who refuse to share records. No mercy for radical lawmakers who want ICE officers doxxed. And absolutely no mercy for the fake compassion crowd who would rather call ICE Nazis than protect the communities they claim to serve. Every American who plays by the rules deserves to know somebody's got their back. And that's what this administration is actually doing here today, okay? Showing ICE, Border Patrol, law-abiding citizens that we stand with them, that we stand by them, no matter how loud the fringe left screams Gestapo. All right, so now that you guys see exactly how deep this goes in New York, I want you to ask yourself this question. Who is next, right? Because the ICE kill threat didn't just corner Kathy Hochul and Letitia James. It exposed the entire playbook for sanctuary politicians coast to coast. Los Angeles, Chicago, New York, all run by the same brand of leader who thinks that they can defy federal law and slap a safe space sticker on criminals. I mean, look at Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass pushing back against ICE sweeps in notorious gang hotbeds like MacArthur Park, calling agents occupiers while the streets rot with violence. Or look a little further, look over at Chicago. Brandon Johnson bragging that his city will never work with ICE no matter how many felons slip through. Or NYC's next in line, the open socialist crowd like Zoran Mondami, right? The flat out saying that he's going to defy any federal deportation order and protect anyone, no questions asked. So here's the real catch. This shooter's arrest and the backfire that came with it, it just gave the Trump administration the legal ammo to clamp down anywhere this game is being played. Federal funding, you're getting cut off. Local National Guard, federalized if necessary. And the Supreme Court has the president's back on this one here, guys. So these mayors, they can posture all they want. They can tweet, they can protest, they can act like their underwear is on fire. They can hold rallies. But when they shelter violent criminals and they block federal warrants or incite threats against ICE, they're lining right up with Kathy Hochul and Letitia and where they are right now, on the losing side of a federal investigation that promises no mercy for anyone who thinks that they're above the law. So here's what I want you to be able to take away from this, okay? The ICE kill plot failed, not just because Matthew White sits in a jail cell tonight, but because it exposed the real danger of sanctuary hypocrisy. The radical talk turned real. And that reckless talk is exactly what President Trump's team just flipped back onto the heads of all of the same people who used it to essentially score political points for years. The shooter thought that he was going to be able to just shut down ICE. He thought he was going to be able to pull it off. Instead, he ended up waking up the lion. And so now there's no more amnesty for backdoor deals. There's no more safe harbor for criminals behind sanctuary walls. There's no fake outrage while American families paid a price, and absolutely no mercy for the politicians who invited this chaos in the first place. So if you believe in the rule of law, if you stand with every officer who puts on the vest and risks it all to protect your community, then I want you to know this. Lawlessness is losing. Federal power is back where it belongs, in the hands of leaders who put America first and protect our neighborhoods. And the people who thought that they would beat ICE with these threats, they just handed Trump the biggest win yet. So stick with this channel, guys, because I promise you, I will be here every step of the way, breaking down the backfires, the federal strikes, and every single move that this administration makes to slam the door shut on sanctuary sabotage once and for all. Smash the subscribe button, share this video with a friend, and drop your comment down below, because together we actually back the badge, we back the border, and we do it with no mercy. I also want to say thank you for all of you who have clicked on the link down below to join our inner circle. Thank you so much for supporting the channel on Patreon. Those of you who have been considering doing it, I just want to say thank you so much for considering supporting the channel by clicking the link down below and joining our Patreon. We'll see you guys on the next video.